Hey, it's Katie. Let me show you how to make a fall dessert board featuring pumpkin maple cupcakes and apple pie shooters. This dessert board has really two homemade components, and even those aren't from scratch. I think they come together super quick. So the first one is a maple pumpkin cupcake. So we're gonna start off by making the cupcake, and it actually starts off with a spice cake mix and just adding pumpkin and other ingredients. The recipe will be linked down below. And you guys, I accidentally added like a ton of pumpkin pie spice here, and it was super spicy, but I actually really liked it. So anyway, you're just baking those for about 20-ish minutes until they're completely cooked through. It's gonna take a little bit longer with the pumpkin in there. And then I'm going to be making, now this is my whipped frosting, and I'm gonna link that video down below. It's just a quick 4-minute video. It's like my favorite frosting of all time. I make a chocolate version of it, but in this video I made a maple version just by adding maple extract, and this is what it looks like. So you guys, I just pipe swirls on top of my cupcakes, like crazy easy recipe. Give this one a try. And then the second homemade component were these apple pie shooters. So I started by taking an apple and peeling it, and you guys, this chopping clip, I accidentally had it in slow motion, which is like hilarious. Like every time the knife comes down, it's like boom. Anyway, I chopped those apples up, and then in the stovetop I added the apples, and I added apple pie spice and some brown sugar. And I actually did not add any thickener here because I really wanted the apple to shine through. You do have to pull off a little juice at the end, which I'll get to in a minute. So I'm just cooking this down until the apples are tender, and then I just refrigerate that overnight. Again, because I didn't add any flour or cornstarch, it's not necessarily thick. There is like some of the apple juice. So when I put it together, I'll drain that off. And then the next component is a crumble, and it's just a really quick crumble: melted butter, flour, brown sugar, pecans, and oatmeal. And I just mix that all up, add some salt as well. And so once all of those are put together, you will pop that in the oven for about 10 minutes at 400 degrees. And again, quantities will be down in the description box below. And there's that. Now that those components are assembled, we're gonna put it into a shooter. So I'm putting the apples, and again, drained with the liquids drained off of those apples, and the crumble. And then you guys, I made some of my whipped frosting. So I showed you the maple version for the pumpkin, but this is just regular whipped vanilla frosting. Again, I'll have that video linked down below. But it's just basically like a stabilized whipped cream, and it works so wonderfully in these shooters. I think it really breaks up that apple pie from being too heavy. Time to put the board together, and I always like to work biggest to smallest. It's actually one of the tips I give you in my dessert board guide, which I'll have that free PDF linked down below. But anyway, I start off with the cupcakes, and I'm kind of focusing them in the middle and then on the sides. And then I'm coming in with my shooters, and you guys, we're gonna finish these cupcakes and shooters at the end. So I popped those on there, and then I started adding these apples. Now you might be saying, Katie, you never showed us how to do this. That's because I put them on, and I realized this really broke one of my rules, and that's having a cohesive color palette. I put these on, and I just felt like they didn't make sense, like color-wise. So obviously they're still delicious to eat, and I actually have a YouTube short about them. But you guys, they didn't make sense for this board, so I took them off. And again, that's all in my dessert board guide. Having a cohesive color palette is important. So anyway, I'm adding these little mini stroop waffles. You guys, even though this is a homemade board compared to my like no-bake board, which if you guys want to check that out, there is a no-bake board where there's literally no baking. It's all just from Walmart put together. But anyway, I'm still using store-bought things because that's kind of how you tie it together with these smaller pieces. Anyway, adding in the stroop waffle, and I like to create those curves there. And then I am coming in with some candy, and again, it's all in the same color family, so it's just pulling together beautifully. Once I have it generally all put together, and again, I add some Lindor truffles, kind of different sizes there. I then top the apple pie shooters with caramel, and I top the cupcakes with some pumpkin pie spice, just sprinkle that over the top, and I think those two finishing touches make a big impact.